Okay, so some tech issues. The trained monkey is still trying to figure out how to make all of this stuff work. Because I've forgotten it all. So, yeah, Michael, you may just have to take over. I thought I had this fixed on Tuesday. I thought I'd.
Don't worry, Dan.
Out,
I'll just host it for you.
Well, it might come
if
down
you
to that
want,
because I'm still messing stuff up. You would think that I would, being the professional broadcaster that I am, said nobody ever, that I would make this work. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Let's
Hello.
just do this. Hi, Michael. Let's just do this. Let's let's not.
And my Discord just beamed, so we're live.
I was about to.
There we go.
I was about to introduce something, but now
famously
it's gone again.
bad at Discord, so I apologize in advance.
So let's talk about Discord real quick.
Yeah.
For all of those out there, if you are not signed up for our Discord server, find a link for that in the pinned chat. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff that happens over there, but the immediate thing that it gets you if you join our Discord server is you're going to get notifications every time we go live and every time we post, and you're not getting that through YouTube right now.
Yep, it's right here on my phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you have the Discord and when you sign in, you click the yes, I'll accept notifications, you'll get stuff. Plus, fairly soon, we're going to be doing a post-game show, at least to start with, for the morning live show over there.
Oh.
So that will be fun, where we can take 15 or 20 minutes and discuss some of the cases that we saw that day. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one.
Me too.
Slightly more structured and serious than the pre-show, which is just
participation points.
So, yeah, it'll be good.
Awesome.
All right, so before we get this shindig started, what do you say I unwrap our surprise for everybody, shall I?
Let's do it.
Austin.
Hello.
Austin is our surprise,
Welcome.
everybody. We have a new panel member who we brought in during the pre whatever discussion show thing that we do, just to try to haze him a little bit and see if he could stand us. And he survived it, so we invited him to join tonight with only about 5 minutes notice, and for some reason he said yes. So
He didn't run away screaming, which
which means we did not do our job.
we didn't.
Super scary,
We
though.
failed.
I'm so surprised.
Once again, I'm showing the fact that I've been out for 2 weeks. I'm off my game, but we'll work on that. But Austin, welcome. We're happy to have
Thank
you.
you.
This will be fun. Okay, so tonight we're talking about lawyers behaving badly, and this should be fun actually for Austin to join in on because he kind of hails from that legal field, paralegal, as I recall. Yes, Austin?
Yes.
Yes, so he has some experience and some things he can probably share for sure. This is going to be a very broad topic for us, a lot of places we can go, a lot of things we can talk about. The one thing that immediately came to my mind when this topic came up, but we don't need to go there because we already did a whole sidebar on it, was in Judge Boyd's court where we had that lawyer who was recording the client and then turning the client in. That is, in my mind, depending on how you look at it, a possible lawyer behaving badly or at least questionably, or, there's lots of places we can go.
Yeah.
But I know that Ashley has done a tremendous amount of homework on this.
Oh.
And she has a plethora of examples, and it sounded like a top 10 list from what I understand.
Yes.
So I think we let Ashley kick us off today, and let's just see where this goes, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
that.
Just let Ashley do that there list. Yeah.
Okay.
You betcha.
So,
Go.
I'm going to start, I think, with the top 10 list because I personally didn't know what lawyers get in trouble with. Yeah, we hear them in court, but is court exactly the number one problem that lawyers get in trouble with? Like, is it inside the courtroom or outside the courtroom? Do they get the in trouble? And so I came up with a top 10 common misconduct of lawyers. Number one on my list was neglecting client cases. So they will neglect the case and not do what they're supposed to do. And that is negligence. So that. Number two is misappropriation of client funds. So they will get the funds from the client to pay something or whatever and use it on themselves. For instance, they will take it out of the escrow or the IOTA account and borrow it, so they say, and use it for personal needs. Number 3 is failure to communicate. So they don't communicate with clients. So yeah, that's another form of neglect. Dishonesty and misrepresentation. Abandonment. Number 6 is conflict of interest. 7 would be improper conduct in court, which we would see on TCF. Number 8, criminal conduct. So if they get in criminal trouble by fraud, theft, bribery, assault, harassment, anything like that. That's number 8. Number 9 is failure to safeguard confidentiality. And number 10 would be practicing without a license. So that's my top 10 list. And Austin knows more about this than I do, so he can critique my list if he wants. But
all of those were accurate.
Okay, cool.
The misappropriation of the funds happens to be the biggest, unfortunately.
Okay.
Why does that not surprise me?
Because
Interesting.
people want money.
I'm shocked.
People do things with money.
Weird.
Yes.
Other me surprised.
And then I did some research on a few cases or a few attorneys acting badly here in Georgia. And there was one in Dawsonville, and then there was one in Macon. Dawsonville, can I name or should I keep them names private? Or
In their public
if the case
articles.
has been
It's
adjudicated,
public,
it's
yeah.
public, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Let it fly.
Destine Gillum from Dawsonville was an attorney. She was disbarred after accepting $33,900 from 6 clients, but did nothing for their cases. The Georgia Supreme Court cited that she abandoned clients, and also there was financial mismanagement there. So that was one case, and then there was another one from Macon, Georgia, Melvin Raines II. He used a $5,000 fine for a plea deal and used it for personal use. The court denied the plea, and the attorney refused to give back the funds to whoever paid it. He also failed to show up to a status conference, and the court filed a contempt hearing and found him in contempt after 3 unshowed hearings. And another client advised he hadn't communicated with him, like he wasn't communicating with another client. So those are 2 on my bad list that got disbarred because they were either not communicating, misappropriating funds, or just not doing what they're supposed to do, which causes this.
So this raises a question in my mind, because we're talking about a lot of things, but one of them that was mentioned is the like failure to communicate with your client and stuff like that. We see so often, especially with people in custody, and often if they're involved with a public defender, where they'll be yelling and screaming that their lawyer hasn't done anything with them, hasn't made contact, all of that, and we often blow it off as, well, they're busy, which is definitely the case. But it makes you wonder how much of that is lawyers actually just not caring. It's a curiosity. Any thoughts on that, Austin? Is that something that you've seen floating around there, where you've got these lawyers who just don't give a damn?
You've got some of that. It's more the higher, which doesn't make sense, but it's more the higher degree cases than it is the lower stuff. The lower stuff, that'll take 5 minutes. Let's do that. Versus, this will take a week. I'll just take his money and give him one hearing and that's it. Versus actually doing everything for him.
I never heard of that, or I never thought about that.
That actually kind of tracks for me a little bit, because I think in some of the higher profile cases, you probably have a more arrogant lawyer involved, and they're probably relying on their staff to do the majority of the work. I could be wrong.
Yep.
But that's what I would think would be going on.
See, I would almost have thought it was the opposite. I would have almost thought that misdemeanor cases, they just blow off because they're all I have to do is show up anyway. But hey, it's like these felony cases could actually get me notoriety if I do this right. I could kind of use this as a springboard into my own private practice. So I'd better really put in the effort, but screw misdemeanors. I always thought it would kind of be the opposite. But I guess it depends on the person, right? Maybe some of them are clout chasers, and that's why they would do that. But others are just lazy. And so,
Yeah, and when I was also doing my research, I also found that this doesn't only happen in criminal cases where there's lawyer misconduct. It happens in civil cases too. Usually there's bigger money there. So there's more misappropriating funds from the civil side, but there's more non-communication on the criminal side is what I've seen.
Interestingly, I found a case here in where I'm at. A lawyer was disbarred due to activity around his own divorce proceedings. So it wasn't necessarily anything that he was litigating. It was as a result of kind of disobeying the court orders from his divorce. They concluded he committed fraud on the court regarding planned IRA transfers, sold property that had been ordered not to sell, and never paid court-ordered sanctions or distributed the required funds to his ex-wife. So he's disbarred actually in 2 states.
Well, that's unfortunate.
This just brings about such an interesting
civil
question.
cases, divorces too.
Okay. Let's understand something. Going to law school, okay, 3 years you go to law school, you pass the LSATs, then you do your law school, you work your way up, you pass the bar exam. None of these things are exactly, just a cinch. I mean, you actually have to put in some work.
And money.
And money, yes.
Yes.
And so you fight and claw your way to get a law degree, a law license. And then you're willing to throw it away for, what Ashley was talking about earlier, $30,000.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot of money to people that don't have $30,000. But for a lawyer, let's be quite blunt about it. I mean, lots of lawyers make pretty good money depending on what you do and your what kind of practice you have. And, if you're a trial lawyer versus a criminal defense attorney, whatever. But I mean, to throw it all away for $30,000 seems pretty stupid. But
or $5,000. That one.
Yeah, or $5,000.
Yeah, I was like, wow, really? But
I'm amazed that a lawyer would risk their. It's one thing to risk it on a case maybe that you really feel you are representing your client zealously and the system is doing something wrong and you're willing to put yourself out there and whatever. And that's one thing. But I mean, for some fraud, that is amazing. It is amazing to me.
I think it's probably a level of arrogance.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can get to a point where you feel like because of what you've achieved and the degree that you have and what you know and the status and all this kind of stuff that you can do no wrong. And it's often the smaller things that trip up those people because, again, there's just nobody will catch this. I'm above it, whatever.
Well, especially if a lawyer if they have some success, Dan, if they're one of these prosecutors that, I got a 95% conviction rate, some crazy thing, they probably have some major, that's where the ego really comes in because they start believing their own hype.
Yeah. So Wahoo just put something interesting in the chat. Who protects the clients if an attorney behaves badly and messes up due to something unrelated to the case at hand? So, obviously there's the whole ineffectiveness of counsel thing after the fact, if you're found guilty or whatever and try to chase that. But beyond that, Austin, some expertise perhaps. What recourse do you have against a lawyer who's kind of been screwing up while he's been representing you?
You could go to second highest case would be going to the judge, I would think. You could try another either more senior or same level like attorney at his office and be like, hey, this guy's not representing me. This is everything. What do I do? And they'll either talk to him, or some of them will take it over themselves if they see that he's not. But if it's a sole, if he's the only attorney in the firm, then you kind of got to go to either the judge or the offices of the lawyer, OLR,
or the state bar.
Or the state bar, yes.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, or where I was kind of wondering is, beyond just the state bar, is there any kind of like built-in systems in these states to like chase that issue, or to get like compensation for it, anything of that beyond like a civil claim?
Usually
I'm just
it's
curious.
take it to small claims if they've messed up like that.
Gotcha. So take it into the arena that is made to kind of protect those people.
Yep.
Oh, well, what are you going to do, I suppose?
Or if it's like a higher, say you give the attorney 200,000 or something where you can't take it to small claims, well, then you have to pay another attorney to take it to a trial.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing too, is that it just gets real messy after that. And in a criminal case, for example, if you have ineffectiveness of counsel, and that's one of those times we watch all these court shows, right? We watch all these courtroom, all these live courts and everything. And one thing that is always asked is, are you satisfied with the representation you've received? And of course, most of the time they say yes. Sometimes, I think in Judge Mogan's court, somebody once said, 5 out of 10. And every once in a while, someone will just say a flat out no. And, so there is that issue. And so that's about the only time you're really going to get a say is, if the judge asks you, or if you bring it up on an appeal in an appellate court.
How often, though, when we have seen those no's, it's just there was some insignificant fact of the case that the defendant was really harping on, and they were just like, you didn't try to pull a cell phone record. It's like, buddy, your cell phone records don't really apply in a robbery.
Well, yeah. Lindsay, what winds up happening most of the time is that it's they thought that the attorney should bring up something that would have been immediately thrown out by the opposing counsel, or had no relevance, or wouldn't have really mattered anyway. Now, hey, every once in a while, there's probably an issue that gets brought up that is legitimate. I mean, but most of the time it's junk. It's a guy that's unsatisfied by the fact that, I did the crime, but I'm trying to look for any possible way out of it, or to mitigate this in another way. So, then always go to the Hail Mary of, but my lawyer sucked. Yeah. Yep. Now, sometimes that is true. Sometimes the lawyer does suck.
Sometimes they definitely do. But.
Or, and this is another kind of sidebar to the sidebar, if you will, and that is that sometimes there's a bias from the judge to a specific attorney. I'm not going to say that I've seen that happen in a family court setting. No, not saying that I've ever witnessed that personally, but I'm saying that maybe it has happened somewhere, that a certain judge saw a certain attorney clearly does not like them, and immediately just starts yelling at them.
I've seen a similar thing. It happened in a county in Michigan. I'll just make up a name. We'll call it Allegan County, Michigan. With a certain judge that didn't like the fact that I brought in a lawyer from the quote unquote big city.
You mean that this person that you're making up brought that in?
No, well, no,
yes.
Doesn't matter. That was what.
Just plead the fifth. You'll be okay.
Dog on here 20 years ago. Now I think that judge is long since retired and probably in the ground, because he was like barely moving when I was there.
Hey,
man.
Don't speak ill of the dead, though.
I'm not speaking ill. I wasn't speaking ill of him.
No,
Speaking
I'm
of the
just
job
saying.
you did, perhaps.
Just a reminder.
I know. I'm the faith guy here.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But I and then of course we have the big one, we talk about examples of lawyers behaving badly or alleged to have behaved badly. Judge Boyd got into it with an attorney.
Yeah.
This was last year. I think maybe it actually started a couple of years ago.
I think it was a couple years ago.
This attorney accused Judge Boyd of having an inherent bias against them and tried to bring that to the Judicial Review Board. And this went on. This was like a whole thing that went on for quite a while. All the while, incidentally, this lawyer is still having to bring cases into Judge Boyd's court. It was fascinating to see. Now, I don't know I think the ultimate resolution to that was, they didn't really find anything completely solid to suggest that. Although I don't know I think it kind of got swept a little bit under the rug, at least in terms of the public. But Judge Boyd's obviously still on the bench. That attorney is still practicing. So I think it kind of just was a wash. But still, there are times where, and I'm not saying Judge Boyd does this, but there are times you watch judges and you think maybe they have something against the attorney. I mean, how many times do we joke in the chat about Judge Glazer and that prosecutor, Nessa, I can't remember what her name is, but the one that always puts a pen in her mouth and it drives me nuts.
The blonde.
Yes. And there seems to be tension. And sometimes, we see that. But these are courtrooms where there's a lot of, especially in Miami-Dade and some of these arraignment courts, there's a lot going on. It's a very, very busy docket. And, it can be stressful.
Especially if you can't hear.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then there's that. And then there's the audio issues. And that can just... So there's a lot that happens that, this lawyer's behaving badly doesn't always necessarily mean that a lawyer is, but there's accusations, there's tensions, there's innuendos, there's all sorts of things that go on. And this is all kind of, so let me just bring up one more real quick. And, so we kind of touched on this in the other night, but Judge Stevens, just a couple of days ago, there was, was this while, I think this is while I was filling in, Dan. There was the guy that came in, he was late.
You were filling in.
Yes. Yep. There was the guy that came in, he was late, like a half hour late. And Judge Stevens lost his mind about it. And, he said, listen, where were you? We started 9. You're here. And I've seen Judge Boyd do this to a lesser degree, but Judge Stevens just was flat out. We started 9. You're not here. You're supposed to be here. I've got a trial to get to. And now we've been waiting for you. I don't understand. Why were you late? And the attorney did not. The attorney kind of sounded like one of his clients because he did not give a very good answer, very clear answer.
No.
And Judge Stevens, kind of pressed it and then just sort of went, okay, I'll give you a couple of minutes and then I'm going to need a resolution. And what was weird about that was now I remember this real well because I was like, well, okay, we're going to come back to this and see what happens. Well, what ultimately happened was I think they resolved it offline because then Judge Stevens came back and the trial started. So I think, he did one of his turn off the stream for a couple of minutes. Probably there was some more terse words, came back. My thought on that is, here's me as the client watching my attorney and the judge who has my fate in his hands going at it. And I know in a pissing contest, and a who's is bigger contest, the judge always wins. So now I'm going, why? Why did I just give my money to this guy and turn over my fate to this guy? Mm-hmm. So, there are many implications of this kind of a situation.
No, for sure.
I agree.
In the couple of times in my life where I've needed a lawyer, they've done some things that just kind of made me go a little bit cross-eyed, and I wouldn't necessarily call it behaving badly, but not necessarily checking with me first, just making
Yeah.
calls. I remember being during my divorce from my first wife, we were in this room kind of going through negotiations, and he was sitting next to me, and all of a sudden he goes, well, what if my client offers this? And it was nothing we'd ever talked about. I elbowed him in the side so hard. I'm like, and then I just said, we need to go chat for a minute. And I took him out in the hallway and read him the riot act. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He said, well, I didn't think it'd be a problem with you. It's like, I'm not paying you to think. I mean, yeah, to think, but don't make stuff up. Like, get to me first. But
that would rub me the wrong way too. If my lawyer was going to do something without my permission, that's not cool.
Yeah, it didn't go over well. I mean, overall, he was a good lawyer. I think he was very much ahead of his skis on that one. But, what are you going to do? So something else that popped into my mind about this is we've had a couple of instances that we've seen here on TCF where we've had lawyers get into a tussle with the judge, but there's definitely a club there and a little bit of protection even in the conflict because we don't get to see the resolution. Two examples I have was a week or two ago. Well, it was a couple weeks now before I went to vacation. We had the one situation in Judge Simpson's court where he started going after this guy and then he just cut the feed. So we didn't get to see the conclusion.
Oh, yes.
Collectively, the chat was like,
so he was clearly protecting him.
We just got to the good part.
While he was screaming at him. And then in Judge Oakley's court, and we did a video on this.
Yeah.
It was
Bring your
by last
toothbrush.
name of King.
Yeah.
I told him to, because this guy, lawyer
And
King, I don't remember what his first name was, sent in like a junior from the team to cover for him, ticked off Oakley to no end. And then he's, tell him to bring his toothbrush. We're going to have a hearing on this, a contempt hearing. That contempt hearing, if it happened, was never streamed. Where Oakley streams like everything else. But it was never made public.
Right.
So, these instances where you might have some lawyers behaving badly, it's interesting to me that a lot of times the judges seem to want to protect them.
Or work it out off camera type thing.
Yeah, I get it, because I suppose you have to have a working relationship there too, and you can't tick off everybody, because look at what happened with Judge Fleischer. He basically ticked off everybody, and then they revolted on him.
Yeah.
So...
Which is weird, because a lot of times, he was very friendly and engaging with a lot of attorneys. So I think, I think there was definitely a small but vocal group that definitely did not like the way he did things.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling he's still doing things the same way, just not on stream now.
Yep.
And they're probably starting to go, well, he's not streaming, but he's still acting this way that we don't like. And, and that's the other thing is judges, they're ultimately, we think of them as these automatons, but they're people.
Yeah.
They're humans with human emotions, human reactions, human biases, human personality. And each one's going to have a little bit, Judge Simpson's that guy. And again, I think this was right around your vacation, Dan, or maybe I just start. So I think just after we ended the show, Judge Simpson got into it with another attorney who had a problem with the prosecutor, and they got into it. Now, this was on stream.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They got into it on stream about and this he wanted to file a grievance against her, and then she basically said, well, he said some really nasty things about me, defamatory things about me, and and it got ugly, and that went on for quite a while. And so sometimes he may protect them, but other times when it's clear that, one, and he even told the guy, he's like, do you really want to proceed with this? Are you sure? And when a judge says, are you sure? That should be like a big red flag to say, no, hit the X. you know.
Back out.
Yeah.
So that went on for quite a while, that one. And I think, Lindsay clearly saw it. So,
Yeah.
So I
And
was
the term
also
misogyny got thrown out at one point.
oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, it was like maybe a half hour. This thing, it was quite a lengthy thing. I was,
Yeah.
I wish I would have had it either on stream or would have recorded it because it was something else.
There was
Sounds
one.
like I missed some fun stuff.
Yeah,
There was-
very fun.
There were some fun things, and when I tapped into Michael's live, it was interesting. There's one thing that I forgot to mention, or wasn't on my list, that I want to know more about, and that would be witness intimidation, because I thought that might show up on the list, but it didn't. I know witness intimidation is a no, but I wonder what the process is of how to prove they are intimidating a witness, or like what goes on there type thing. So
Oh, you mean an attorney intimidating a witness?
yeah, because apparently in Texas that's happened before.
Intimidating in the court or like outside the court before they get on the stand?
I think outside of court before they get into court.
Interesting. Okay.
And by what means exactly? Because sometimes, threatening someone with, hey, we're going to bring more charges or something, or, this could be actionable is one thing.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a clear line of what, intimidation
Right.
could look like. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm
that would be
wondering.
interesting too. Yeah. I mean, obviously that goes on too. And, there's, this is one of those topics that
It's
there's
so broad.
because behaving badly is, in air quotes, it's what one considers bad. Yes, obviously, if you're going against the canons of ethics, if you're breaking the law, that's obvious. But there's other stuff that walks up to that line, but not necessarily crosses it, that maybe Dan or I would think is bad. Maybe, somebody else would think is just fine.
They got suspended or debarred over it. So whatever they did was pretty bad, apparently. So that's why I was wondering, like, how do you actually prove that? And also mishandling evidence could also be one too, which is something I've been thinking about as well. So just it's a wide variety of ways that lawyers can, I guess, get into trouble, and I'm just kind of throwing them out there.
Well, here's one for you that I kind of like your opinions on.
Yeah.
This was actually the first video that we published today, and it was from Judge Wolf's court. And this is a potential lawyer behaving badly from another angle. You had a defendant who had a plea agreement for a 6-year deal. The DA changed. It became a new person. And all of a sudden, that deal became 25 years. And the defendant and his lawyer argued that the only thing that changed was the office. And in the middle of this negotiation, it went from being a 6-year deal to a 25-year deal. So would you consider something like that being a lawyer behaving badly? Would it be more righteous? Would it be the right thing to do for them to honor the previous agreement? Would that qualify as a behaving badly?
It depends. I don't know the particular, but I would think it would depend on how the filing is done.
Yep.
Like if you
Particulars
go
of the case.
right, but if it's you said the DA changed, Dan, or the
DA changed.
Yeah.
DA changed. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the lawyer. So the reason why I presented this is from the other side of it. We're talking about like, defense attorneys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is the prosecutor's office. The person handling the case changed, and all of a sudden it went from we're working on this 6-year deal, and the new guy comes in and goes, I'm not doing that. We're talking 25 now.
And no other facts of the case changed. No other new evidence was discovered. It was simply that's it.
That was the bulk of it. Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah.
new guy was arguing it from different angles, but it wasn't
That-
like any like blockbuster facts that came in.
Oh, how
I think that's BS, but
how I think about it is the DA works for the state. So the DA is part of a company that works for a state. So if it's part of that same company, I would think that they would have like acknowledge that deal. But if it was for like a different company that the state's using, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. It just kind of, I was thinking about it as we're sitting here talking, and I just thought of that case that we published this morning, and it feels to me like a little bit of a behaving badly. I mean,
It kind of
I-
feels like it could be I'm
Thanks.
coming in trying to establish myself as, tougher than the last guy,
there's
But I don't
politics involved
yeah,
for
the
sure.
politics of it all.
Yeah, but I
but-
don't think it's like against the rules or anything. But ethically, I wouldn't. Yeah,
It might not be against the rules, but is it right? I mean,
borderline
your
ethics.
attorney's
Yeah.
been trying to move the ball,
Yeah,
to this agreement that as I remember it, the agreement was pretty much there in principle. They were working out the finer details of it, and then new guy comes in and just tosses the whole thing in the garbage can, and now we're starting at the
Interesting.
25-year mark.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow.
To me,
I don't
it's-
think that's ethical.
To me, it's like you're in a car dealership. You've decided you're going to get this brand new piece of machinery, and you're talking with the salesperson, and you've agreed upon a price. You're just trying to get him to throw in the nice rear spoiler on the trunk or something like that, and then
car.
he's got to go to lunch. So his boss comes in, and all of a sudden the car's $5,000 more.
That's actually a really good analogy for
Yep.
it.
That
Yeah.
would
It
fly.
I nailed
is.
it, yeah.
Because you've done all this work to get to a certain point, and then some other guy throws in the trash. That I think that's another way that you could look at the system at least behaving badly.
Yep.
Yes.
Because you expect a defendant to meet certain criteria, to jump through all these hoops, to do all these things, and then on the prosecution side, they're just saying, yeah, whatever, we're gonna do whatever we want.
Well,
We
haven't
at the
heard
last
from
moment we want to do this, don't want to do this anymore. Tough.
yeah, we haven't heard from Austin yet on this. What do you think, Austin?
I was going there next.
In ways it's okay, but in some ways I think if you had negotiated the deal but you haven't finalized it, the DA switches, I think they should still honor the deal. But I know in times that there are certain things where they'll give you like one shot, and if you don't take it right then, that deal goes out the window. So I don't know if it could have been a situation like that for that one. But it's like, okay, we're going to give you one chance. Kind of like when it was either Dan or Michael said, when a certain word comes up, it's different type of thing. When that small deal comes up, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you're like it expired in a
Yep.
way is what you're talking about, Austin.
Yes,
I
some
haven't
deals.
thought about that.
Well, let me read you the summary that I had of this case.
Okay.
And I still, despite the summary, I would call it a behaving badly. So this is just from the description for the video. In a dramatic hearing before Judge Wolf, a defendant's future hangs in the balance after his plea offer mysteriously skyrockets from a 6-year community corrections to a staggering 25-year prison sentence. Defense files a motion to enforce the original plea agreement, arguing the new prosecutor has a personal bias and is acting in retaliation. And they had some evidence to that was presented in this hearing. The prosecution, however, contends that there was never a finalized deal, claiming the defendant hesitated, wanting to resolve other pending charges in a neighboring county before taking the deal. So they were working towards this. There was some timing things because he had some other stuff he had to deal with as well, and then this other guy just swooped in and was like, no, we're not doing any of that. Let's talk about 25 years. The facts,
Yeah,
the facts,
I-
of,
yeah.
facts of nothing
Yeah.
changed.
Right.
It's
Yep.
just one guy decided, no, I'm not going to pick up the ball where my partner left off. I'm going to make you start over, and you're not going to like it.
Lolly was saying in the chat that maybe the first DA missed something or something, but you said it didn't change, so.
Yeah, it was a few days ago that I watched that case. So, I watch a lot of court. So I admit that I might be missing something, but as I recall, there was no substantive change in fact.
Okay.
It was a change in approach.
Right. And again, I think that's wholly political. And I think once you start integrating politics into it, then it gets, well, obviously, then it gets unethical for sure. Once you start kind of, I got to put my own personal stamp of approval on this, and I got to make sure that the voters, well, they know how I feel about this, and I'm not going to let some thug get the better of me and blah blah blah. I'm going to be tough on because that's what that is where things get nasty. And
Is that an elected office in Tennessee?
Prosecutor, I believe it is.
I think so. I think it's elected in most places.
Now, the other thing that I will admit to being fuzzy on, because I don't remember specifically, I don't know if this was a change in the lead DA or who was assigned in the DA's office to the case.
Got it.
Oh.
Still shouldn't matter.
But either way, basically there was a change on the prosecution side, and then we have,
I
deal
would
that's going on.
understand if that new prosecutor came in and they're like, no, I don't like that deal because of this and this and this. I don't feel like that's justified, and they change it because of that reason. I don't feel like it's ethical for them to just come in and just like, no, we're not doing that. Scrap that. We're just going, here's a higher amount they have to serve. I think I would like justification for that personally, and then I would feel a little bit better about it.
Well,
Although if we're playing devil's
you're not gonna
advocate,
feel better about it at all.
yeah, I mean, if we're playing devil's advocate,
Well, no,
and even though
but-
I don't feel this way, the old saying, I mean, it ain't a deal until you sign on the dotted line.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, there is always that.
Yeah.
So it may not be at, the level where it's the canons of ethics were violated. But yes, I still think regardless of that, yeah, it's still bad. And also, what does that say to other defendants? What does that say? Oh, the prosecutor might very well pull the rug out from under me. There might be a rug pull that occurs here during my plea negotiation. I mean, that's not a good situation to have either. And that's going to make the entire court system just collapse under its own weight, because then everybody's going to be like, well, screw it. I might as well go to trial, and then we'll have infinite trials and we'll never get anything resolved.
Dan, why did they change? Like, why did the other one leave? Did they say?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I mean, I recall the nuts and bolts of the case, which is why I brought it up.
Okay.
But the finer points of it, I don't. I've watched so much court this week on about 2 hours sleep a night. So,
I understand.
so
I
work
understand.
with
I was
me a
just
little
wondering.
bit. But it still came up in my mind again, because you had a situation where stuff was progressing, and then you had somebody else step in and just throw it in the trash, and it just caught me as another example of the potential of a lawyer behaving badly. Because it may not be an ethical problem from a bar association standpoint or whatever, but I would see it's a problem with good faith, if
Well,
nothing else.
Especially if they're from the
yeah.
same firm.
Yeah, you're
but
starting
if they
to
were
walk-
from
They're from the DA's office, so you're starting to walk down this road, And
Yeah.
again, the agreement is there in
Yeah, I agree.
principle. There's a hesitation because you've got this other stuff going in this other county. And you know how that is. You've got to make the stuff line up so that it'll work out best for you. Because if you take a conviction over here, it might affect here. Where if you take it over here first, it's less of an impact here. So you got to sort that stuff out. And, you know, as they're getting that sorted out, the whole thing just gets yanked by this other guy.
Yeah. And normally these guys, they kind of try to work with each other and they try to, work this stuff out. And that's the other thing is if you're a defense attorney and you're sitting there saying, well, I can't necessarily, we got DA Jones here and if we try to make a deal with him, he may just rug pull us and now we're screwed. You know what, man? We might as well just take it to trial. I mean, that's what's going to ultimately, or it's going to make for very uneasy plea negotiations. It's going to make for a much more tense environment. It's just going to make for attorneys not trusting each other even further, because we all know that attorneys kind of have, every attorney kind of knows, especially in these smaller areas, they all kind of know each other, and they know. They know who the whacked out guys are too, and so I'm sure there's that situation as well. I don't know. Maybe this guy had a personal axe to grind with the other attorney. Who knows what the situation was there?
Yeah,
Hence the bias.
Just bizarre. And I wanted to bring it up again because as I was thinking about it, the examples we were bringing up were from like the defense side, the private attorney
right
kind of side. But this is,
well, also
you got to consider it's going to come from all angles potentially.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff we were bringing up too, Dan, is pretty black and white kind of stuff, and some of this is more gray area. Yeah, it's easy to say if an attorney isn't zealously representing their client, or if they're taking the money, or and running, or misappropriating the funds, or they're showing up consistently late and just doing a garbage job. That's all easy stuff. But something like this is that moral gray area.
Yeah,
and that's. Again, this is one of those things. We're obviously not going to solve anything here on Sidebar, as we always do. That's kind of our credo here. But I will say, this is one of those things. Again, the other stuff is easy to solve. The moral gray areas, we're never going to be able to. There's no solution to it, because how do you really enforce that? I mean, unless you completely redraw the ethics guidelines.
and the judge has nothing to do with it either, because the judge is just listening to whatever the plea between the prosecutor and the defense attorney.
Well, right. They're not supposed to be involved in it unless it goes to a plea open to the court. But other than that, they're not even supposed to really know what the agreement is until they bring it to the judge and say, well, this is it. And then the judge can say, I agree or don't agree. And that's, I guess, this is where Judge Wolf could have said, wait a minute. Well, I'm not going to follow this 25-year agreement, 25 years. I'm not going to follow that.
Yeah, that's why.
So I guess,
that's where my head's going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could have shot that down, but so this is just such a that's one of those areas where it's so hard to really define it. How to handle that, and again, put yourself in the shoes of that client, right, of that defendant.
Well, once the AI overlords take over, it will be very black and white. It'll be fine.
Right. That'll be happening in a few years. So we won't even, Sidebar, they'll just be AI caricatures of us. So
yeah, because what'll happen is you'll go to your AI and you'll just type in, create an episode of Sidebar. Have Dan dressed as a clown. I want Michael to speak in Swahili.
Oh.
And it'll generate it for you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I just hope we get royalties off of it. That's all I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'd still would like my intellectual property, but
good luck
I don't know.
with that.
I'll have to take that to the AI court system.
Yeah, that'll work out. For
I
you.
also want to bring up one other thing, and
Sure.
that would be if there's a contempt in court against a lawyer,
Okay.
Say a judge was like, it's contempt of court type thing. I'm amazed how long that contempt can last. Because one of the cases I saw, it was like in 2001. It didn't get resolved until like recently.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know how.
Hmm.
That's when the debarring, it happened this month. The debarring happened, and it was from 2001. So I was amazed how long it can be stretched out before they can actually be debarred.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
So wait. You're saying that an attorney got found in contempt of court in
Yes.
2001
Yes.
and just recently got disbarred for that particular contempt hearing
Well,
or that
it
particular
was
contempt charge?
on three different things, but the first, they were using that as one of the things though. So they had one, and then he had two other mishaps that he didn't do right, and so because of those three things, that's when he got debarred. But it's just interesting that it lasted that long, in my opinion.
Do you have
Or
a
was
name or
it that
anything on
third
this?
thing that caused the debarring? I'm not sure. But like a 3 strikes you're out type of thing, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Do you know who that is?
I'm trying to look for it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if
same.
you have any info.
Let me look.
It's curiosity.
Yeah, because I would love to know what that's all about. Yeah, again, before the show started, we brought up Judge Webster and how there's clearly a situation with Jill Gillette, one of the prosecutors there in Kansas, and that's clearly a situation that there's tension, and then they've gone after each other. Judge Webster has threatened her with contempt of court. Didn't do it, but kind of made that threat. So this is something that obviously can happen. But yeah, contempt charge, I guess, could you get disbarred for it? I don't know. I guess it depends on what the merits of it. But from 2001, that's a tough pill right there.
I think it was
something.
2001. It was either 2001 or 2010, but either way, it's a pretty long time considering.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm having trouble finding that. It's curiosity, though. We may.
Yeah,
have to
we'll have to look into
that.
that.
I'll look at it.
Maybe one for the
track
pre-show.
that down. Maybe we can address it on the pre-show.
Okay.
'Cause
Which, if you're not a member,
Yes.
Yeah, fix that. You have 2 missions tonight. If you're not a channel member, you should become one. It's a whopping $2.99 a month. You get access to the pre-show. You get discounts in the store.
I think I have it pulled up.
You get to meet
Yeah,
my
it's
best
the best
friend.
value on YouTube. Take that, Mr. Beast.
You get your water heater fixed. There's
I
all
know.
sorts of things that happen.
Water, yes. Cold showers, man.
Go.
Now, I will say, I'm not a fan of cold showers necessarily, except in July, but then the water here doesn't really get cold.
It's not a cold shower in July here.
But they'll wake you up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for the silver lining, guys. I'm having a hard time, but
Forget the caffeine. I got the cold water.
yeah.
I'll get you fixed up in a couple days.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
I got my cases switched, I think. I think it's from 2021.
Oh, 2021. Okay.
Yeah, never
Okay.
mind.
That makes
explains
more
why I couldn't
sense.
find anything.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, my bad.
Boy,
The
I was
three
gonna
Get
say,
my
if-
back straight.
if we're going back 24 years for a contempt case,
that judge really doesn't like you.
that is petty AF right there.
That poor guy's been rotting in the cell behind the courtroom the whole time.
I
What are you in for, buddy?
I did 24 years because I said the judge might have a bias. Oh my God, you monster!
You know,
So,
Georgia.
maybe we should
like
do a
that
judges
sometimes.
behaving badly at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
Option.
I've got
well,
a case for that one that I found.
Ooh.
It's pretty
Alright.
interesting.
I saw that. I saw.
It was actually on TV, and I remember seeing it there, but I found it again. It's from Florida, Brevard County, where the judge and the public defender had a little meeting outside of the office or in the back hallway during court.
That's the one where
That's
the one I saw that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yep. That's where the judge, he's like, you want to take it outside, and they go outside and fight.
And you can hear them, and everybody's just looking at each other.
And then the judge comes back in and just resumes like nothing happened.
Without the defense attorney.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I remember that.
Yes. That is sensational.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we should do a judges behaving badly.
There's lots of examples,
Part-
Dan. I mean,
The second part too. Yeah.
again, behaving badly is one of those, it's hard to define for sure because we all have our own ideas. But I mean, I've seen some, we've all seen some of this.
Yep.
That's clear. I mean, that one's obvious.
Yep. He got 120-day suspension and then was allowed to return. 50, and this is the judge. 120-day suspension from the Judicial Commission, a $50,000 fine, a public reprimand, and continued participation in the mental health anger management therapy and if he misses one of those appointments, it sounds like he can be disbarred or taken off the bench again.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I will say that defense attorney was being a little bit, I mean, they both got into it. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a judge chase down a defendant that tried to run away. I don't think that's behaving badly necessarily, but I think you're opening yourself up to liability if you do that.
Yeah.
And then chased
him down the stairs.
Yep, into
fell
to the
over
park.
the railing.
Yes. Yep. And again, is that behaving badly? I mean, a lot of us would say no. That's a judge going above and beyond. But again, that's putting yourself into a situation where,
You're potentially liable for him.
You are, because if somebody gets seriously, because of, again, ironically, because we're such a litigious society, here we are in this court channel saying all this, things like that happen. Sometimes you just got to stay in your lane as a judge and maybe, save that for the court officers or for the police.
Yep.
But, I think that happened in a southern state, and don't worry, boys, I got this. So, I don't know. There's a lot there. This is one of those. Again, this is one of those such a broad topic. I love these because we can go down in so many directions.
Can.
That's why.
Yep.
That's why I love this. That's why Sidebar is so great, guys.
Yep. Just get in here and chat, and we just whatever happens.
And get
That's
our
part of the charm.
Yep.
I do want to take a hard right though, if we could, and just steer this maybe not into the iceberg, but maybe near it. So we have a new panel member tonight, Austin, and we didn't get to do any really good rookie hazing or anything like that. So I'm thinking that to close out the show with a couple minutes we have left, the rest of us should each ask him a question to try to get to know him a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my question will be, if there were any different period in history that you could have lived in, what period of history would that be and why?
I'm a big history buff, and the one period that I can think of is Civil War through the end of World War II, just because here in the U.S. anyway, just so much of our history that we look back on, it either isn't told because you have the big things like the Civil War, World War I, and World War II, but a lot of the other stuff you don't hear. And what I have gotten to learn about it is pretty interesting.
That's a fascinating answer. I would not have thought of that. But you raise a good point. There's not as much documented in those in between times.
Yep.
I like it. Ashley, do you have a question for our new friend?
It's not as philosophical as that, but what is your favorite food, Austin?
Oh boy. Either pizza, tacos, or burgers.
The big three.
Yeah.
Pizza, tacos, and burgers. Got it.
I can't think. I don't have a number one. It's all three of those.
Lindsay?
If you were on an island, which
Oh,
one would you bring?
Ashley's still going.
Oh boy. Probably the pizza,
Okay.
because I could pick it apart and like eat the toppings. That's one meal. The crust and some of the other stuff is another meal.
Gotcha. Good answer. All right.
Interesting. Survival skills.
Thanks.
What you got, Lindsay?
Who is one judge that we show here on the Courtroom Files that you enjoy watching the most? And who is one judge that if you never saw them again, you wouldn't be sad?
Oh boy.
Dan takes notes.
I really love
Real-time
going
feedback.
to Judge Simpson. I like Judge Mercer and Brantley. The other
Brantley Clark.
Brantley Clark.
Brantley Clark, thank you. And then I do like Glazer as well. Those are all fun courts to go to.
Okay.
He's a Glazer friend. Yay.
So which
just-
one wouldn't we go to again, if you had your way?
That one I really don't know. I wish I had an answer for that one.
So you're showing all quality content because he can't think of one he wouldn't want to go back to.
Well, I
you
don't
go.
go back to the ones I don't like. So
That's true.
Yep.
we run across some every once in a while. We're like, yeah, I'm not going back there again.
Yep.
So okay, Michael.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? No, but so I was actually going to ask you about judges, Austin, but I guess, I mean, this is an obvious one because of your background, but
Yep.
what drew you? How did you come to find us here, the Courtroom Files? What kind of, was it just kind of happenstance? Did you seek it out? How did you come here?
Was watching I think I was actually watching some of the individual courts, and I might have had an ad for the Courtroom Files, or I stumbled across it and checked it out, and I've been here ever since.
I think you stumbled across it. We have never paid for advertising here at TCF.
Okay, that
All organically built.
okay.
Well, that's
Maybe
good.
you advertised yourself.
Maybe. Well, that's good. I thought you were going to say so-and-so referred me over, and then I'd have to cut a check. So thank you.
Hey, I
Well, good.
referred myself. I'll take that, please.
Well, look, I want to say thank you because I'm glad you found us, and it seems like you're having fun here, and we certainly enjoy having you here, and it was good to have you on the show tonight. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yep.
I think we leave it there. Per our usual arrangement, we solved nothing, though. If I recall correctly, a couple of weeks ago, we solved like one half of something.
Yes.
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 So,
Yes.
that one was an anomaly, but it was a good discussion all the same, and appreciate all of you being here. So much so, let's do it again next Tuesday, yeah?
Sounds good.
Oh, yeah, you
For
betcha.
sure.
Yeah, for sure now.
All right. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, 45 minutes early for channel members. Again, if you're not a channel member, you should fix that. There's a lot of good stuff. You should also join the Discord. That's in the pinned chat, so you can get alerts when we go live. Plus, again, we're going to be doing a post-game show here starting soon. So see you all tomorrow, everybody. Take care. God bless.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
now.
Bye.